I mean, if you're alone on Valentine's Day, that's okay. I was alone on many Valentine's Days.
Well, you've always got me, Phil.
Oh yeah, it's all about that.
SNIT was always on the chopping block at YTV, right? Because for one reason or other, they just didn't know that SNIT was popular, right? And one time, I think one of the programming directors wanted to cancel. So let's get rid of SNIT. And then, and then a bunch of the crew went and took 8 banker boxes of fan mail just for that week. And they said, this is SNIT's fan mail, just SNIT for this week. And it was like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters, right? And
that is so Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, thousands of letters directed to Santa Claus.
That's right. So, I guess they do like him.
Did you grow up in Canada? Were you alive in the 90s? Did you love YTV? Yeah, you did.
Natalie N. Applegate is asking, how much fun was it to be SNIT?
Oh, boy. I can't even... how do I begin? I mean, here's... imagine, showing up to work at 11 o'clock in the morning and then setting up in the studio, getting the SNIT equipment going. Phil comes in. We start and we go, okay, let's go out. We go out in the parking lot and we're joking around with other people at YTV. And then it's like, oh, shit, man, we got 40 seconds. And they're trying to find us. They don't know where we are. And it's live, right? So they're freaking out. Whoever's there is freaking out. They go, and we go running into the studio, running past, and we got to get in there. We're running into the studio. It goes 10, 9. He goes, and the master control guys, you assholes, why are you always doing this to us? But 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the zone.
You can't tell that we were just panicking a second ago. The whole thing, it was beyond fun. It was, you can't imagine how much fun that was.
Look at the pollution!
See that? Look.
It was weird because no one knew who I was. I was SNIT. I was this character, and you see this thing on there, and it was my personality being infused into it. I was operating it and talking. But when Phil and I hung out in downtown Toronto or whatever, we were getting stuck, people in buses and cars. Phil! And so I'm hanging around with the guy, and they all know who he is. And Phil would always try, but this is SNIT. He'd point to me all the time. This is SNIT. And I go, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, but he's so Will. That's just him. I've only had the pleasure of hanging out with Phil a few times, but each and every time I'm like, that is so him, man.
I had no idea you had such depth of emotions.
Oh, I knew.
Oh, come on. It's okay.
He pretends like he doesn't know anything, but the guy is like super knowledgeable. Like you cannot. He is a wealth of knowledge, especially in pop culture.
Thank you very much for coming to talk to us.
Hey.
And good luck. Well, you don't need them. I need them.
Phil came to town one time, and actually he came to host a Christmas charity show I was doing.
You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. PJ Fresh Phil is coming to town, and he's coming to save Christmas with the Holiday Hooligans, the best Christmas band ever. So come on down to Turbo House, December 17th, 2016, and meet a YTV icon and see a sweet band. SNIT says, enjoy.
And he came and played guitar on the last 1 or 2 songs. So I can put that on my bucket list that, I played a song with PJ Fresh Phil. A Nine Inch Nails song above all things, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Great. Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is a good thing to put on your bucket list. He's a fabulous musician.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing, and even then he had other talents. Like he was doing fashion. You probably know about that. He was doing those jackets for rappers and stuff, and Britney Spears, and so it's like, my God, this guy, the talents. Like he's got so many talents, right?
He's like a higher functioning Forrest Gump. He's just doing everything, and you can't really narrow down who is Phil. Well, for those years he was on television, he's a fashion guy, he's the band guy. Like he's just everywhere.
Can I do my Kiss impression for you guys?
Yeah. Please.
I used to be out there where you are. Then you put me up here.
All right, Ian Taylor says, what are the inspirations for SNIT and YTV at the time? I guess they just wanted to change things up.
Yeah, it was like, because the Zone was this in-the-moment thing, and there's been different management coming in and out, and at that time, the management decided they wanted to, it was like a prank. SNIT was a prank that they were pulling on Phil. Phil thought, okay, I guess I'm alone. Wow, no puppet, no Warren Grog. And he was like, yeah. And then one day you normally would have a monitor there. The monitor disappeared. You go, where's the monitor? And then he would come in and he goes, and there's SNIT sitting there. What the hell's this? Right? What is this? What are you doing? What? And then then I'm sitting there and he's like, and in the first few segments he looked visibly, well, it seems that somebody, I don't know and he was trying to talk around it. So it was supposed to be a prank on him originally. So I think they showed somebody building it or something. I wasn't there when it all started, and I came in just 2 days after it started.
Okay. Oh, wow. So, all right. So SNIT was kind of functioning before you, kind of.
It was. It was modified when I got there, but it was the guy Nicholas Kadima, who is I know I keep calling everybody geniuses, but this guy's another just brilliant artist, and producer. He's got his own studio, and he's very well known in the production community. But he did the original design for SNIT, and I worked together with Nicholas Kadima when we created Brainwash. Kim Saltarsky, myself, Nicholas Kadima, we created this show called Brainwash with, I don't know if you ever saw, Sean Majumdar was on there. It was his first job in TV. It was at YTV. Yeah.
A gentleman named Tom the Bomb. Where is SNIT now? Well, SNIT's in all your hearts, everyone. When you go to sleep at night, when you wish upon a star. Or is he actually?
Well, if by SNIT you mean me.
Sure.
Let's see. Well, I believe it or not, I teach TV at Mohawk College. I'm a professor there, and I teach screenwriting there. I worked for Marvel for a few years. I've worked for Disney. I've worked for Nickelodeon and Warner Brothers for a few years, and I'm doing some writing now on a Netflix show. And I was a producer at Fox and at Warner's as well. And yeah, so I've had a long career since SNIT. And before SNIT. But, yeah.
Excuse me, pardon me. What did you work on in Marvel?
I was a producer on the show Wolverine and the X-Men. Did you ever see that?
Yes, starring Steve Bloom.
Yes.
And one of the most fantastic shows in the world that got canceled in one season, unfortunately, even though it is probably one of the top 2 X-Men series ever produced.
It was. We actually did a second season. I don't know where the heck it is. There's a second season somewhere, but Disney buried it, I think. The problem was that there was a contract with Nicktoons, and Disney did not want their product showing on Nickelodeon, so that's that, right? So it got killed. I also worked on Superhero Squad. I was a writer on that. It was a great time. But yeah, that was Marvel. And funny thing is, even Phil was right into Marvel back in the YTV days, and we were watching all the Marvel stuff together and the DC stuff and comparing them with the Spider-Man stuff.
We've got Rhino Man and Goblin Man and a Twirly Baton Man too.
Huh? And then I go to LA and I end up meeting all these people and knowing all these people that we were nerding out about in the YTV world. So it was neat.
A little man and a big man and a man who laughs at you. A polka dot man and a man with a cold at you. Gesundheit.
It's different now. The world has changed, where it's almost a form of pride to know as much as you can about the MCU and Marvel now. But back in the day, if I ever wanted to kiss a girl, I buried that fandom as far down as I could.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, it was definitely not that cool to be a cartoon. I love the new generation. This is what, and one of the reasons I love teaching at college, because the college kids they're so cool. It's like, why weren't I growing up with you in the 90s? Like I could have taught cartoons forever with them, and they're great with it. Even, and not just Simpsons, but kid cartoons. Like they like everything. And I've had students who are SNIT fans who grew up with it. I've got friends. I remember at one point I was living in Texas, in Austin, Texas. Mm-hmm. And I became friends with this guy who lived downstairs, and he was a session guitar player for Sony. He was an amazing guitar player. And we'd hang out and we'd jam all the time and that kind of thing, and became great friends. He was quite a bit younger than me, but it didn't matter. Mm-hmm. And he was in his mid to late 20s. And then, wait a minute, how old are you? It's like, you're from Canada? You're from BC? And he said, yeah. Oh, I thought you were American. Oh, okay. Did you ever watch YTV? He said, oh, yeah, all the time. And then I said, wait a minute, Ryan Lindsay? Why does that name sound familiar? And then I said, well, I was SNIT. And then he's like, yeah. No, I was SNIT. and he didn't believe me. And I put the tape on that showed me, because that tape at that time, that was not ever supposed to be made. That we actually broke my contract rule that it was never ever supposed to reveal that I'm SNIT.
Wow.
And I had the camera turn and show me actually operating SNIT. So when you see that on YouTube, that was that was a breach. Anyway, I showed that to him, and he goes, "Holy shit, it's real!" And then he was like, every day, he was like, "Oh God, it's like it's freaking me out." It's like it was like it was very funny that it took him a while to wrap his brain around the fact. And then I found I used to keep a lot of the fan mail, and I'd go through everything, right? We'd boxes and boxes and boxes.
Okay, we have an email here.
Ah, okay.
Yes, we do.
Now for the real celebrities.
Here are the real celebrities, you, the fans.
And I used to go through it, and I found Ryan's drawing. Ryan Lindsay, the guy lived downstairs from me in Austin, Texas. We happened to meet by chance, and I had kept his letter from when he was like 3 years old.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy? I saw his drawing and everything. It was great.
It's like you say, "Hey, Ryan, your drawing sucks."
Since the mail took so long, email works better. Here's my email. I was wondering if you and SNIT like Metallica.
Yes.
You like Metallica?
Yeah, to some extent, yes.
To some extent? Now,
Like, I don't listen to it every day, but there was a phase where I liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, would it be old Metallica or new Metallica?
Just the one album. Remember that one album you gave me, that black one?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. I introduced you into a little bit of Metallica.
I love your story about SNIT being on the chopping block and then them all bringing in the fan letters. Like, that's really cool.
It is. Well, and the fact of it is that you can decide you want to change this or change that, but it comes down to the viewers, right? And they just weren't always aware that it was. And what happened is when I left, and SNIT was always underappreciated. And we launched SNIT into space, and I did some segments of SNIT in space, like floating around in orbit and giving weather reports.
A high of minus 40 today, dropping down to minus 200 in the evening. Forecast for tomorrow? Universe is expanding. No supernovas for the rest of the week.
And apparently what had happened is that the station got inundated with letters saying, "Bring SNIT back, bring SNIT back," right? And I was long gone, right? So they attempted to bring him back with that thing called the SNIT station. You've ever seen?
No.
Yeah.
No, I think I was really trying to kiss girls by then, so I didn't have time to watch SNIT.
And that would have been, it wasn't in the same personality in any way.
The reason you can't find me is because you can't see me.
SNIT, what are you talking about?
I invented some invisible ink potion and drank it, and now I am invisible!
SNIT!
I mean, it was interesting. I think they should have just made a new character, because it just didn't seem like SNIT at all. I don't know what they were trying to do.
You're not invisible. You're right over there. I can see you plain as day.
Or am I somewhere over here?
It didn't last for very long. It was. I remember Paul McGuire calls me up. He goes, "All right, well, I need to break it to you." And it's like, we brought back SNIT, and it's a different version of it. It's, and it's like, break. Why do you think? I mean, yeah. I don't know what you're going to be doing with it. I'll see what it is. I hope it's good, right? Because SNIT was. And I went and saw the taping, and I go, "Ooh, what did you think?" Yeah, it's nice. It was good. It's not SNIT, but it's what it is. It was a really neat show, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It's not the same character. It's a different character, and you call them the same character. So.
No, it's a different band. It's there's just something you can't replicate, man.
You can't. And I tried to tell them before I left. It's like, the way it's evolved. Maybe you're not aware of it because nobody in the station watches it. The kids are all watching it, but it's Phil and I talking. I mean. That's what it is. It's not. I mean, I'm in the form of that thing, but it's just us, right? We're everything we talk about is from our own lives and our own perspectives. I'm not pretending that I'm some machine on a thing, even though it sounds like it and looks like it. And Phil talks to me when we're on the zone. He talked to me as if it was me.
I got something to do today.
What?
Shopping.
Oh, so who do you have to buy for still? We're very interested in knowing. Believe me.
Well, I gotta buy something for Little Snipper. This is like
that?
Tiny SNIT. I gotta buy something for Mama SNIT.
This is the first time you've ever talked about your family.
Yeah,
Not
well,
like people out there going, wow, that's the first time he ever talked about his family.
well, this
As if
is a
they'll
time
remember.
for family now, isn't it?
And SNIT just fit that imagery because when I think of the Zone, and everyone thinks of the Zone, they think of Phil and SNIT, and it just seems so, I don't know, punk rock, badass. Just as a kid, I couldn't quite appreciate what I was seeing, and only in hindsight did I realize you never know you're in this golden age until it's over.
Yes.
And then when you look back on it, all the fans that I've been talking to, I put your picture up. I put picture of you two, and I'm like, I'm interviewing SNIT in a few days, and people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, no matter how cool for school anybody is in life, when you bring up Phil and SNIT, it's it brings you back to a better time.
I remember there was an article once, I think it was in the Toronto Star or something, that said something along the lines of the image of Phil and SNIT. Somebody said they saw Phil and SNIT in the airport, like on a big TV screen, right, while they were flying somewhere. And they said, after watching it, like, because some people it's on TV and their kids are watching, whatever, they said it's the most comfortable.
That's right.
So-
Love is all around. No need to waste it.
Yeah, see, that's my point. Love is all around.
Personality pair on TV. It's like when you see them, it's just like you're at home. I don't know how that evolved that way, but it was a comfortable look, the two of them together. Some kid had wrote, like, when I first saw this SNIT, it scared me, and I didn't like it, and my mother said that they're putting it on for shock, and this is terrible TV, and blah, blah, blah. But then he goes, and I started watching it, and I realized SNIT's a really nice guy, and he's really sweet, and he's good friends with Phil, and so then I just liked SNIT, and I thought, well, I'm not going to be worried about his looks now, and I guess hopefully that taught people something about, hey, don't judge a person by their looks.
Check out more episodes of You, Me, and YTV on Facebook and YouTube. Sweet one-of-a-kind interviews with PJ Fresh Phil, PJ Paul, Tarzan Dan, the cast of Student Bodies, the voice acting cast of Sailor Moon, and much, much more. Exclusively on You, Me, and YTV.
I'm like, no.
You're good, man. You could have been on TV easily.
Thanks, man.
You're great on YTV.
Really? That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever said to me.
No, you would
I could
have.
be on the
If I
wall.
was casting, I'd definitely you could get in.
Note, people, you've heard this here.